Hey everybody, Michaela here, and today we are finishing up our focus on building community. Last week we talked about how Jesus calls us to live in community with both Him and those around us. Community itself can look a lot of different ways. For me, it can often take place on social media. I love following accounts that make me laugh or brighten my day. In fact, I have one friend where the majority of our interaction is sending funny or meaningful memes back and forth, constantly. If I notice a particular account is interesting enough, I'll follow it. We all do this offline too, with the concerts we go to, the stores we frequent, the brands we wear. When we really like something, we share it. We tell our friends about how good this one artist is or how comfortable an item of clothing is. We talk about our favorite ride at a theme park, or we just will not be quiet about that one type of food that changed your life. I just tried fried cookie dough and I will never be the same. It's natural for us to share the things we like and our experiences with each other and the people in our lives. But sometimes we purposely hold off on sharing something for one reason or another. You don't want your favorite restaurant to get too crowded. You don't want anyone else to have the exact same outfit as you. You don't want to feel judged for the things you like. But when we live intentionally in community, we're called to live differently. Jesus was very intentional about the community around him. We already know he specifically called the original disciples, but he also gave them specific instructions as his community. During the most difficult and worst time of his life, some key people in Jesus' life were nearby while he was close to death on the cross. We read, "When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, 'Woman, here is your son.' Then he said to the disciple, 'Here is your mother.' And from that time on, this disciple took her into his home." His mother was there. His closest disciple was there. At the scene of his death, Jesus told two of the people in his community to love each other and remain in even closer community than after he died. His death wasn't going to be the end of these meaningful relationships. After his resurrection, Jesus had some instructions for one of his other closer followers, Mary Magdalene. She was also at the cross with Jesus' mother and close disciple. She showed up to tend to Jesus' body after his death, only to be shocked and amazed to find out that he was alive. This is what he told her. "Go to my brothers and sisters and tell them, I'm going up to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene left and announced to the disciples, "I've seen the Lord." Then she told them what he said to her. Mary was a big part of Jesus' circle. He had healed her previously, and she chose to travel with him to learn more from him. She also helped fund his ministry. Jesus told her, one of his closest followers, to share the news of his resurrection with the other disciples, and so she did. After the disciples learned Jesus was alive and were reunited with him again, he left a few final instructions for all of them before he went back up to heaven with God. Here's what he told them. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Jesus came near and spoke to them. "I've received all authority in heaven and on earth. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything that I've commanded you. Look, I myself will be with you every day until the end of this present age." The work that this community had done with Jesus wasn't going to stop in his absence. In fact, the instructions were to grow the community. Community isn't supposed to stay the same forever. It's meant to change and grow. It's meant to invite people in and not keep people out. We learn a few important things from Jesus in these last few moments of his story. Community is called to care for each other, just like Jesus' mom and closest friends supported him at the end of his life. Just like the way Jesus instructed his mom and close friend to love and support each other. How can you love and support the people in your small group community? We also learn that community is called to share with others. Mary shared her experience with the disciples. The disciples then shared the message of Jesus and God's love with countless others. That's how we're here today. Sharing can look many different ways. Like Mary, you can share with others what God is doing in your life. Like the disciples, you can share God's love. Like Jesus, you can serve others selflessly. Your small group community isn't meant to be static. Communities are meant to be inviting so that others want to join in. Communities are meant to create space for those that aren't there yet. Sometimes it can be hard because we might not want our community to change, or we might be scared of what other people finding out that we follow Jesus means to us. But when you share and broaden your community, you're doing exactly what Jesus called you to do.